I was doing a group's launch night for the Genesis process. And one of the guys who came, we went through the whole night. At the end, he literally said, I thought this was a Bible study on the book of Genesis. And I was interested. But now that I've heard what it's about, I'm even more interested.
There we go.
Yeah, the way I distinguish between the two, I think of the launch night as inviting people into a process versus when you actually start your group, it's like working with people who have already committed to be in the process.
Right.
So it's inviting people in versus working with people who are in. And I think it's so important because you really need that time to talk people through what they're committing to. That's one of the distinctives of a Pure Desire group. You know, unlike maybe a traditional 12-step group, that a 12-step is much more drop in when you need to, come check it out, see if it's a good fit, you know, just find out where a meeting is, go attend one, go somewhere else. That we really don't have a drop-in culture at all because we want people who are in the group to be committed to the process and to one another and to know what they've committed to. But that really is a lot to ask of someone. So to just say, hey, first night is Thursday, see you guys then, and you may have guys coming that had a total misunderstanding of what they were getting into. One quick example, it's not exactly about a Pure Desire group, but it's groups we closely associate with at the Genesis process. I was doing a group's launch night for the Genesis process, and one of the guys who came, we went through the whole night. At the end, he literally said, I thought this was a Bible study on the book of Genesis. And I was interested. But now that I've heard what it's about, I'm even more interested.
There we go. Good.
But I just thought if we'd just assumed everyone was on the same page and everyone knows what to expect, like, boy, that first night would have been a real shocker for him.
Yeah.
And obviously most people aren't going to be that extreme in what their misconceptions are. But I think everyone just has some different ideas of what it'll be like. And so in your group launch night, you're just trying to create the expectations, set the standards, and give people then that opportunity to respond, I'm in, I'm going for it, or to say, you know what, it's great, but I'm not ready.
This makes me think too, it takes the pressure off of the people from the stage, maybe on Sunday, who are announcing this, or maybe it's the pastor who's making a push for Pure Desire groups in your church, that this takes the pressure off from you having to give the whole sales pitch, that you can talk about it in general terms, that it's about sexual integrity and healing from betrayal and what it looks like to, heal your marriage and understand healthy relationships. So you can give the bullet points, but then what I'm hearing you guys say is this could be the night that really convinces people. Like, come to hear more information about the groups. We'll go in a little bit more detail. We'll share some stories, that sort of thing. And so I think that, I know for me, when you get up on stage in front of people, whether it's 100 people or 1,000 or 10,000 people, there's like this pressure, like, if I just say it right, then everyone will come. But this, I feel like, could take pressure off, where it's like, hey, little plug, this is an informational meeting just to get an idea and then jump in. Is that what you guys are saying?
Yeah. Well, and I think too, the what helps in that process is the orientation piece of it.
Yeah.
So if you use Conquer Series, whatever that is, that first steps, when you get into 7 Pillars or Unraveled or Betrayal and Beyond, they know at least what to expect. Maybe not all of it. Right. But they've had enough information going in to say, okay, this is at least what I'm going to be working on. Right. Do I want to take the next step?
Right. Like, oh, you mean I just showed up on launch night and I'm already, devoted now for 9 months? Like, I wasn't ready for that. Hold on a second.
And we have your signature right here.
Yep. Right, that's right.
So we've already started to touch on this a little bit, but let's just talk through some more reasons why having a group launch night, or if you call it an orientation or you call it a come ask your questions night. I think what people call it in their own church or context is fine. But why is having a night like this or a gathering like this so valuable and important?
I think, and we've talked about this before to some level on the podcast, it gives people a shame-free opportunity to just say, you know what, this isn't for me, and step back. I think I've heard you say that as well in conversations we have with church leaders. And it's okay to have this, because if you come in and you're like, you know what, I'm not ready for this, which that's an okay place to be. Like, no shame on you, but if this is an area that you struggle in, here's what we're offering. And if you want to step into it, you can. So it's basically like you're not admitting you have faults, you're coming to get information. And also we're not shaming you where you feel free to just be like, you know what, I'm not ready for this. I can't step in at this moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think when we set the tone as a leader, that to let them know that this first night, or I usually take about 2 weeks before you really get into the lesson. So there's no expectations for them. I let them know I always start by my story first.
Yeah,
And then
that's good.
it's just kind of the icebreaker. And, and I go deep with my story. I don't do the short version. I do the long version so they understand the whole process.
4 hours later,
Yeah, 4
you're
hours
walking
later.
out, right?
And they're like, I'm done.
Yeah.
But I think it's important how we frame it,
Yeah.
or sell it, if you say. To be able to give them an option, say in that first meeting too, is to give the option for them to share. And I always let them know, say, hey, you can share as much as you want, or you can share as little as you want. And if you're not ready,
Right.
But usually what happens is when we just open up our own story, everybody else is usually all in.
Yeah.
For the most part, and they're sharing up front. But it's really how we frame that first meeting, whether they're going to commit to the next 9, 10, 12 months. So,
Yeah, I think of the number of stories in Scripture where people's invitation was to come and see, to come to Jesus, come and see the man who, told me everything about my life. Come and see, could this be the rabbi or the teacher we've been waiting for? Come and see. And that invitational feel of there's something important going on, let's go check it out. And so I think on an orientation or a group launch night like this, it's always been my goal to have too many people there, meaning I hope it's larger than what one group would fit, because I expect it's going to pare down a little bit, that some people are going to say, I'm not ready, it's not for me, it's not quite what I thought, I can't make the commitment. But the more that you invite people to come, there may be some that are ready that otherwise wouldn't have initially signed on for the group, but when they hear the information, they maybe hear your testimony, it intrigues them, and they're able to process to a place of saying, yeah, I'm in. And some of this is just an awareness of people's differing personalities, that some people can hear about an idea and in 2 minutes know if they're in or not.
Right.
And other people need time to process, to ask questions, and to make the right kind of commitment. And so if we if we don't do something like this, we're basically making everyone be the same personality type that can make decisions quickly on a small amount of information. And I might be comfortable with that, but my wife would not be. Like, she would want to process it and think about it and pray and ask questions, and that's great. So if you have a group launch night, you really allow people to explore, and then when they sign on, to do it for all the right reasons and know what they're getting into. So I think just that, hey, we're having a night for, like, here's the way we would phrase it, like, we're going to be launching some men's purity groups and really learning how to live in freedom for the long haul. And if you're interested what that would look like, or if you would want to be a part of this group, we're having an orientation night, and no expectations, no strings attached. You're not signing up for the group. You're just coming to hear and learn if this might be the right fit for you. And then, hopefully you have a great group there, that from there you get down to your group size. And sometimes you may even find that you have more than one group of people ready to start, which is a great problem to have.
Yes.
But could help you see the need that's there and maybe work on a second or third group even.